I meant to. Yeah.
Hello.
Welcome to what is it? It's Your Time You're Wasting with the Martin Robinson.
Absolutely, and the David Dido. There you go.
Yeah, Martin, you got recognised. You got mobbed in the street, didn't you, by fans of the show?
Anyway, let's move hurriedly on, shall we?
True story that, but obviously Martin's
not
very
for today.
About it. Not for today. Okay. What have you been up to, Martin?
Running away from mobs in the street.
Apart from that, where did you run to? Did you go to the theatre this week?
I didn't go to the theatre this week. I did go the other night. I think it was Sunday. Was it Sunday night? No, I can't remember. I went to see Johnny Rotten or John Lydon.
No, you told me about that.
Yeah,
he was quite provocative.
He was, as he should
be.
That's
what else is he going to do?
Yeah, that's what he has to do, So we want more of that, don't we?
Was he banging on about how great Trump is?
No, he didn't. He didn't actually. No. Did he mention? I don't think he did mention Trump. No.
Okay.
No.
All right.
But he did mention Glenn Matlock a bit and gave him a bit of a roasting. But
don't like it. No. Well, we can't all be friends with everyone, can we?
No, not all the time.
No. Shame. So not like you not to go to.
No. What? Unlike me to go to the theatre, I didn't go to the theatre or the cinema this week. I've had a very uncultured week.
Is that hard? Do you get the withdrawal symptoms?
Yeah, absolutely. I've read half a book and things like that. So, how about you? Have you been to the opera?
Well, I did go to the opera a few weeks ago. I went to see La Bohème at Glyndebourne, of all places. And I'm not an opera aficionado in any way, shape, or form. I quite enjoyed it.
I love La Bohème. I love La Bohème. It's one of my faves. Puccini.
I couldn't really take it seriously.
Well,
Yeah, but it was nice to go. Glyndebourne's very beautiful.
Yeah, but so's the opera. So's the music. You see.
Yeah, no, and it was fine. It was fine. I think this is I don't know enough about it, so I don't know enough to appreciate it. Maybe.
That's it. You need your opera grammar.
I need to educate myself.
What do you call it? Opera literacy or something silly like that?
Probably, yeah. There will be an
operacy.
Yeah.
Pleurisy.
Maybe.
No.
Pleurisy. Yeah. Some sort of lung disease.
Yes.
Yeah, I know. I've also been running a lot. There's a picture of me winning my age category
winning your age. What do you mean? You're the oldest person in
No, what? No. Put the picture up, Martin. Show the viewers. There I am at the Mo Runner event in Bristol with sporting a very fine handlebar moustache there.
Let's make it bigger for people. If you are you're listening, can you describe yourself there?
Just just standard, just normal me.
You've got a moustache.
Yeah.
That's not a real moustache. No, I know, but it's not. But this is for the listeners, those who can't see the picture.
Quite a few people said to me on the day, "Is that a real moustache?"
Yeah.
And I said, "No, it's not."
So it's stuck on your face.
There's a timing there. It says category 1 of 11. There were 11 people in my age category, and I was the quickest. But the slightly sad fact was there were 2 gentlemen in the age category above me who actually beat me. So not as good as it sounds.
What's your age category?
Oh, what is it? Sort of.
It says 35 to 283 there.
No, there was 280. I was 35th of 283 runners.
I thought that was your age category.
No. The age category, I think it's 50 to 55 or something like that. So,
okay.
That's all good. My sad running news. My big toenail fell off.
Fell off?
Well, it died, and it. Yeah.
How does a big toenail fall off? It sort of go upwards. I mean, it had to go downwards, wouldn't it? Gravity would make it sort of. It would just.
Well, it peeled off. It peeled off, and then I.
You peeled it.
The rest of it. No, it was hanging off.
Hanging off.
Yeah, it had died.
Why?
micro abrasions, I'm told. I had to go
Oh,
and see a podiatrist last
ah.
week who dremeled off all my toenails.
So you haven't got any
I have
toenails.
got, I've got all my toes, but I've only got 3 living toenails.
Ooh.
I
Is that the
know.
rest of your life? You're going to be with 3 toenails, and
It's not good news.
it's do they
Depends
come
how long I
back?
live, I suppose. But well, jury's out.
Oh, I don't like this. I didn't realize we were going to get into this horrible thing about parts
No,
of your body disappearing.
sorry. Well, let's move on. Let's
Have you
talk
lost
about
anything else? Is it just your toes? The pobble,
my mo.
the pobble who has no toes.
I don't
Is
know what
that
you're talking
is
about.
that yeah? Is that Lewis Carroll, Edward Lear? It sounds like Edward Lear. The pobble
Could
who
well
has
be.
no toes. Yeah.
I don't have it. I don't
No.
know.
Well,
I have toes. I have toes, just not very many toenails.
right. But as far as I'm concerned, you're now called the pobble.
Thank you. All right. Well, what do you think, listeners? Is the pobble an appropriate nickname for me? Should I now go as the pobble? What should Martin be called? Let us know. And
I think, yeah, I
then,
can think of a word or two.
yeah, can you?
Yeah.
Can you? So today's show is a bit of a mixed bag. We've a smorgasbord, if you like, of things which we picked out over the week that we just to sort of give you a sense of our process. What happens during the week is that Martin sends me things going, "What about this? What about this?" And I go, and then normally we pick one. But this week we couldn't because they were all a bit mediocre. So we decided to do a few.
That's going to keep
Um,
people engaged.
isn't it? Well, what it's going to be, listeners, viewers, it's going to be punchy, it's going to be quick, it's going to be whip smart.
There you go.
There you go. So we're going to open with
How about telling them what we're going to discuss? All of them, not just the first one. So they stick with us, realizing that right at the end
okay.
we're going to discuss something they might want to listen to as well.
Okay, I mean, controversial. We can give that a go. So we're going to start off by talking about where the best schools are. Which are the best schools? Which are the schools which are doing the best, especially for disadvantaged children?
And how we
We'll talk
know.
about and how we know and what we can learn. We're going to talk about. We're going to revisit the curriculum and assessment review and the idea that they want children to be taught to spot misinformation. We're going to dig into that a little bit. And we're also going to talk about neuroscience, the fact that there's going to be a new neuroscience research centre that the DFE is going to fund. And we're going to talk about
The Bard.
why everybody hates Shakespeare.
Yeah, there we go.
Especially English teachers. They all hate Shakespeare.
Apparently so.
Apparently so. So that's on the cards. What do you want to do first, Martin?
Well, first of all, I'm going to say to people who are still with us,
Yeah.
like and subscribe.
I
Go
love
on. You know
if
you
you're
want
listening
to.
to this. If you're listening to this, Martin's made a really lovely, sweet, homemade sort of like and subscribe. See, if you watch some YouTube channels, it's very professional and slick. And Martin's one looks like he's made it out of coloured pencils.
Papier
It's
mache.
really, it's lovely. It's really so it has a lovely Heath Robinson feel to it.
It does.
And I
Heath
think
Robinson, you see. It's quite right.
yeah, Heath. Was that your dad?
Robinson?
Heath.
No. He was Prime Minister once. But anyway.
Yeah. Okay. Your dad.
Yeah, yes.
Anyway, for those of you that are listening, you just have to imagine a really rubbish like and subscribe sticker. It's bright yellow with red writing.
So please,
It's charming.
please
For
like
the
and
effort
subscribe.
that he's gone to, it would be rude not to, frankly.
It's
So
gone.
you've done that. Everyone's liked and subscribed. Well, people have either done that or they quit in disgust, probably.
And
So yeah, so
if you're listening, give us
yeah.
5 stars and all that, and you can also do whatever you do over there and
Yeah, and you
subscribe
might
somehow.
win a Porsche.
Follow. Yes, might win the postcode lottery. Or,
Yeah.
or Deal or no deal.
Cash prizes.
Yeah, all traitors. Anyway,
that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So
off we go.
We're gonna off with.
Finally.
Yeah. Okay. My heart's not in it anymore. Okay. Right. This time I'm going to start off. And this time, don't interrupt. Don't say off you go. I know. Yeah. So we're going to talk about the best schools, so-called the best schools. You got a little graphic to put up again, Martin.
Oh.
I know. This is the latest post from the We Are in Beta community, who have a Substack called We Are in Beta, and they publish lots of helpful articles for school leaders. And the most recent one is called 75 Schools of Strong Contextual Attainment for Disadvantaged Students in 2025, which obviously trips off the tongue and sounds really punchy. And it's an article by Frances Ling, where she has broken down what the top schools are for disadvantaged students, and the idea being, sort of anybody, any school can get great results out of very advantaged students, and often those results are despite what happens in the school. But if you're getting great results with more disadvantaged cohorts, that's a pretty good indication that you're doing something right, because those typically, certainly across the country, those tend to, and internationally, those tend to be the students who perform least well. So there we are. What do you think of that, Martin?
Are they all in London?
Well, they're not all in London, but most of them are.
Right.
That's a bit of a pickle. Yeah. So definitely most of them are in London. So there we are.
Yeah, it's a strange thing about the London effect. I think we discussed this before, but some time ago, was it under the aegis of Tim Brighouse? Do you remember Tim Brighouse?
I do remember Tim Brighouse.
Who was brought in to do the London Challenge because London schools were so rubbish. He came in, and by the end of his tenure, all London schools were much better. And people tried to sort of say, well, why is that, and is it because of what Tim Brighouse did? And in the end, a lot of people said, well, it's probably just coincidence. And what happened in London was a lot of gentrification, and B, a lot of immigration. So these two things went on at the same time, and improved a lot of schools, because immigrants do very well in London for some reason.
They do very well in London, but is that a bit simplistic? It's certainly a narrative that we hear a lot, but whether or not it's true,
this is the thing. They don't know why, so they're trying to look for excuses. So
exactly,
the trouble with all these things is you say these are the great things, but now do you actually connect that to a causation?
Yeah.
Because there's so many variables in these things, that are there actually causes, that can be definitely brought down to. I mean, have they done any contextual evidence about what the schools have? They did say they sometimes clarified that, or just.
Well, let's get. So, do you want to know who's top of the list, Martin?
Michaela. Well, is it in every? Isn't there different categories? I thought.
Well, so the 75 schools with strong contextual attainment for disadvantaged students. So number one on that list is Michaela. So they get a score of 77.8 for 43 disadvantaged pupils. We'll put a link to all of this, so we won't go through it. And then you've got, I'll probably mispronounce this, Tuhidal Islam Boys High School. We've got Art Greenwich, Twyford C of E, St Mark's Catholic School, so church schools featuring strongly. Then Eden Girls Leadership Academy in Birmingham and Eden Boys in Birmingham. And then Valentine's High School. Mossbourne.
Valentine's and Mossbourne is interesting. Yeah.
And St Thomas the Apostle College in Southwark. So those are the top 10. And so obviously, number one there, Michaela, sort of significantly higher Progress 8 schools than its closest competitor.
So have they?
So much has been written and and said and done and visited and imagined and accused when it comes to Michaela. So there's a lot of noise there. How much we can replicate what they do would seem to be pretty limited because nobody is replicating it at the same
But do we know?
level.
I mean, this is the thing. I mean, talking about context, do they know? Have they done a racial check on that, saying which races tend to predominate in these schools? Are they
Yeah.
mainly white working class? I doubt it.
I don't think they've got into that, or at least I haven't. There is a. If you're a subscriber to their website, there is a data set that you can go into and play with.
That would be interesting. Are you a subscriber?
I don't have access to that.
No.
No.
Okay. Perhaps we should. It'd be interesting to perhaps if they are listening to our podcast, perhaps they can.
Yeah, maybe they'd like to. Yeah, that would be interesting, wouldn't it? So they've drilled into it and said their measure for contextual attainment is built from an estimate of Key Stage 2 scaled scores, and so has an inherent degree of imprecision, such that small differences of decimal points don't really reflect real differences in outcomes. And as such, instead of ranking schools by it, we share the list of schools identified as top 5%, sorted from largest to smallest on number of disadvantaged kids, showing the schools where the success of these students can bring the greatest positive changes. So at the top of that list, you've got Langdon Academy, which is serving 173 disadvantaged students. So these are the ones which have the biggest cohorts.
Where's Langdon?
Langdon is Newham.
Yeah.
And this is going to be important in a moment. Then you've got Brampton Manor Academy. That's in Newham. And then you've got Stratford School Academy in
Newham.
Yeah. Then you've got Plashett School in
Newham.
Yeah. Then you've got one that isn't in Newham. You've got the Ruth Gorse Academy in Leeds.
No, I don't know. No, I don't. That's a joke, by the way. It wasn't a comment on the school. Not being in Newham, I was booing. It was just,
Yeah, I know.
Oh, God.
Mulberry School for Girls in Tower Hamlets.
Tower Hamlets, yeah. Which is next to Newham.
Cockburn, or is it Coburn John Charles Academy in
You know full
Leeds
well,
again.
to the teachers, it's Coburn. To the kids, it's Cockburn.
Yeah. Central Foundation Girls' School in Tower Hamlets.
Next to Newham.
Yeah. EACT, the Oldham Academy in Oldham. So you've got then Swanley School in Tower Hamlets.
Tower Hamlets as well, yeah.
Yeah. Forest Gate Community School in...
No, hang on. No, this could be... I'm
Newham.
going to say Newham. Yeah.
It is Newham.
No, I know.
Then you've got Arcs and Albans, which isn't in St Albans, it's in Birmingham.
It's moved.
Yeah, well. Stepney All Saints C of E in Tower Hamlets. And then you've got Mossbourne in Hackney, of course. Art Globe in Southwark. And so on, and all the way down the list. So there's a big list, and I'm not going to go through them all.
Oh.
But when you think about those,
I was enjoying that.
There's 75 of them. There's 75.
Yeah, it could be. We should have done a countdown, like the old Top of the Pops, Alan Freedom things and all that.
Pop pickers. Yeah.
We missed a chance.
So there's a couple of things that they've done to break down the data here. So one of the things they've said that for each of the school in their list, what's their track record of Progress 8 for disadvantaged students in previous years? And so they said of the 31, so there are 35 schools that also appeared in the 2024 list. And then there's 25 of that subset that are also in the 2023 list. So that's kind of interesting to go back and look at. But there's also 31 schools that aren't in those lists, but stood out for making pretty rapid progress in the last year.
So they're new entries.
They're new entries. So that's Cheadle High School in Stockport, the William Perkins CV School High School in Ealing, Pimlico Academy in Westminster, and EACT Heartlands in Birmingham. And they are all new entries that have made significant gains for their disadvantaged students.
Right. So,
That's really good.
but we
I've got a
still
bit more. I've got a bit more if you're interested.
okay, but we still don't know why.
No, we don't know why, and they're very. And I think now, if somebody from We Are in Beta wants to get in touch and correct me on this, I'm like, why are they called We Are in Beta? So We Are in Beta in the tech world, is sort of pre-release. The alpha is when you actually release your product, your software, whatever it is, and beta is the process that leads up to that ultimate release. I think they call themselves We Are in Beta to acknowledge the fact that education is finding its way, that we haven't got a definitive finished product, and that this kind of information can help school leaders and the wider education system to grope its way towards being better.
And the
That's
only
my take.
measure they're taking, I take it, is the Progress 8. So it is the GCSE scores.
Yeah, yeah. So that's the measure that they're taking for this particular.
So we're
They
not
do lots
talking
of other
about,
stuff.
we're not, they do lots of other stuff. Tell me, sorry.
Yeah, well, so they look at in other articles they look at attendance, and they look at
But
lots
but
of other
this
different
list
things.
isn't taking that into account.
No,
It's not.
no,
It's
no, no, no.
just
This
it's
list
just
is
the
looking at
GCSE scores.
it's just looking at Progress 8. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So
So
we've got another
destinations, for instance, might be a
yeah,
good measure of.
maybe so. Yeah, maybe so. They also looked at the gap between disadvantaged and non-disadvantaged students, and looked at there were 4 schools that really stood out as having a very small gap, and that was Art Globe in Southwark, Plashett School in
Newham.
Newham, Oasis South Bank Academy in Lambeth, and St Angela's Ursuline School in.
That's in Newham, isn't it? Or Redbridge?
It
It's
is in Newham.
Newham. Yeah.
It's in Newham, yeah.
Yeah.
So your question that you asked at the beginning, where are these schools?
They're all in
Well,
Newham.
they're in,
And
they're
Tower
either in,
Hamlets.
yeah. So 24 of the 53 schools that are in London from the list. So 53 of the 75. That's 71% of the schools are in London, and 53 of those 75 of those. Sorry, calm down. 24 of the 53 schools are either in Newham, Tower Hamlets, Ealing, Southwark, or Westminster.
And
And
most of
so,
those are in Tower Hamlets and Newham by the sound of it.
well, you know,
There was a
yeah. So
couple
six
elsewhere.
schools from Newham, 4 from Tower Hamlets, 5 from Ealing, 5 from Southwark,
Okay.
and 4 from Westminster. So, really interesting that it's not. There seems to be powerhouse areas within London itself, and you're obviously going to be more familiar with those boroughs than I am.
Well, I
Into
taught in.
account-
I first started teaching in Newham. Would you believe?
right.
So, but
I
it
would.
was.
It's the Martin Robinson
It's
effect.
the Martin Robinson effect. After all these years, I
Yeah.
can promise you it isn't. The school I taught in was mainly white working class and a disaster. Now, I expect that school. I know that school has changed buildings and various other things. It's still got the same name, but I should think it's now a school with a high immigrant population.
Mm.
And I do think that there is something that's being correlated within high immigration communities in London with academic success. Also, that because someone's working as a cab driver here or whatever, doesn't mean,
Yeah.
of course, that they weren't middle class and from where they came
Exactly.
from.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
so from a doctor emigrates over here, doesn't get to be a doctor, so in the meantime is working on the Uber or
No.
something.
Well, I mean, here's a little piece of opinion, and it's not going to maybe chime with all our reform voter listeners, but I would suggest, I'd put it out there, that the people that have the wherewithal to immigrate to different countries are going to be they're going to be the real go-getters. They're going to be the people that really are able to contend with a very, very difficult set of circumstances in order to bring themselves and their families and start again in a alien country. They're going to be people that we should be congratulating for their efforts and be really keen on and integrating them into our society. Anyway, obviously,
You're on a high horse there, and
I am a bit of on a bit of a high horse, but there we are. So we should also acknowledge that the next region that has 14 of the 75 schools is the Northwest. But that's really interesting. There's also 59 of the 75 schools are from multi-academy trusts. There are 44 different mats represented in the trust. There are 6 mats.
Sorry, in the 44
in the top 75.
different. You said 44 different
mats represented across the 59 schools
in the study.
So there are 75 schools that are in the top 75. 59 of those are from mats, but they're from 44 of mats. So
different mats. 44 different mats.
So there are 6 mats that have more than one school. ARC has the most.
Yeah, but it's the biggest, isn't it? ARC.
No,
or is Harris?
No, United Learning.
United Learning.
They're the biggest by a country mile. They've got over 100 schools.
How many do they have in the list?
So Star, UL, and Harris each have 4, and then Brampton Manor and EACT both have 2. So that's interesting. The all mats are not created equal. Some mats are doing. It would appear
it's very small numbers, isn't it? I mean, so you could, if all 75 were, let's say, Martin's mat, then you could say, oh, Martin's mat is doing something really, really good here. But actually, because they come from 44 different mats, it's not really saying that to us, is it?
It's not saying that. But it is perhaps indicating that the 5 ARC schools on the list are worth a visit.
Maybe that they're just coincidentally doing reasonably well.
Well, I would say.
I mean, how many ARC schools aren't doing so well?
Well, quite. I don't know. But I would say that if you're doing really well with disadvantaged students, it's not a coincidence. That doesn't happen accidentally. That happens only because of what you're doing.
But they've got more than 5 schools. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
But we're only looking at the top 75 as well. So how many schools are we not looking at? 3,000, 6,000? How many schools are there?
I don't know.
It's thousands, isn't there?
Yeah, there's lots. So, and I think ARC has, 40, between 40 and 50. I'm not sure off the top of my head how many they've got now. But so that's not to say their other schools are dreadful or anything like that. It's just that these 5 stand out. And that those 5 and all the other schools on that top 75 list are probably worth a visit. And if you're running a school near to, one of those schools, it might be worth popping along and seeing if they can share some of the secrets of their success.
But be careful of cargo cult.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, it looks
like
anyway,
this.
They do.
Yeah.
They do. There's lots more breakdown in terms of gender, in terms of religious character. We saw there's lots of faith schools involved, and so on. So there's lots and lots of detail to drill into here, which we're not going to go into. But I think it's a great service that the We Are in Beta web community is involved in there. I think they're to be commended for compiling that list. And you're absolutely right. We need to be really careful. You can't just rock up at these schools and copy everything that they're doing and go, right, yeah, okay, we'll just do all of that stuff and our school now is going to be fine. Because as we started by saying, countless, Michaela now, over the years it's been operating, has had hundreds and hundreds of people go and visit it with the intention of replicating their success, and no one's come close. And I wonder whether people go along and it's a strong taste. Have you visited, Martin? I
went in the first term it was open, I think.
Right. Okay. I've been twice, but not for years.
Yeah.
So I visited maybe in the first year, and I visited maybe sort of when they were 3 years in or something like that. But I haven't been for a long, long time. And I think that what happens is that people go along and they see some stuff that they like, and they see some stuff that they're less keen on, and they go, well, maybe we can just pick the bits that we like and ignore the bits that are a bit less comfortable. Maybe you need all of it.
That's very cargo culty. But
I
yeah, I
mean,
mean,
yeah,
yeah,
but
it could be
nobody
the things
seems
you
to.
don't like are the things that are the
Well,
secret to
exactly. It
success.
could be. It could be. You know, everybody chanting Rudyard Kipling poetry and this sort of thing. That
It could
maybe
be
that's
that.
the
It
key
could be that.
ingredient.
If it is,
If yeah, well, yeah, exactly. So anyway, you're right. You know, we don't want to build schools out of twigs and hope the planes will land. We need to be we need to we need to have a proper understanding of what the things that these schools are doing are accomplishing, what the effect of the individual systems in place might be, rather than just rushing to replicate. But it's a nice starting point.
we've got to be careful of the misinformation that comes out of
Yeah,
all
well,
these
we
things.
do
There
have
we
to be
go.
careful. If only we could
That's a
teach
segue,
people.
folks.
Yeah, no, well done, Martin. Very good. Do you know, for years and years and years, I believed Segway was pronounced Sieg.
Sigu.
No, just Sieg.
Sieg. Okay.
Yeah.
Until they started to make them into
Until I
little.
heard it said aloud. I think I was in my 30s when I learned
Yeah,
that.
there you go.
Yeah, I was a bit shocked.
I see. I learned it when I used to be a DJ.
Of course you did. Tell us about being a DJ, Martin.
Well, oh, do you really need? You don't need to know about me and my DJing. When I
I
first
think we
went
do, don't we,
when,
viewers?
when I first went to college, I bought myself a mobile disco and
Beautiful.
paid my way through 3 years of study by
What were
DJing.
the bangers back then? What did they all come and
Well,
request?
as you see, so I went to college in the 80s, so you can imagine we
No,
were
yeah, tell
like,
us.
oh God, what got the well? It depends where you were, you see. So in the
Mm,
East London pub where I did
right.
my Sunday night disco and quiz, had a slightly different, slightly.
Wonderful.
I'm getting embarrassed. Slightly different bangers than the student ones, the student discos that I used to do in the. I'd forgotten
But
Maryland. It was
you're
Maryland.
not gonna
Yeah.
tell us any tunes that they all went
Well,
wild.
because it was the 80s, so you've got your from disco all the way through to sort of the beginnings of what would turn into house music, I suppose, and things like that. But the Cult, She
Oh, the
Sells
cult.
Sanctuary would get people on. The
Really?
Cure would get people on. The in the student
What?
place.
Love cats.
The Smiths,
Yeah, the
things like
Smiths.
that. Yeah,
Smiths would get them up and dancing with it.
yeah.
Ah,
But
okay.
lots of
Well,
other things, I mean, I threw in some old ones every now and then.
brilliant. Okay, marvelous.
Anyway, if anyone needs a disco, you know where
Have
to.
you still got it?
No.
So if you do need a disco, Martin's not your man.
Well, I could just do a tape now. Not a tape. What am I on about? Put it all on some
Yeah.
sort of
What are you on
Spotify
about?
playlist. That's right.
Do you know how to do that, Martin?
No,
No. Well, you couldn't even do that.
but it doesn't segue. It doesn't
Anyway,
segue properly. It doesn't.
all
You
right. So
can't. You can't.
look,
Ah,
after having segued really well, we just completely blew it up.
tangent.
Yeah. Can we spot? So in the curriculum and assessment review that we talked about in last week's show, one of the things that the committee want to happen is that children are taught how to spot misinformation. Lots of people quite pleased about that. But not everyone. And Daisy Christodoulou, who we often reference on this show, she's sceptical. She doesn't think that you can teach children to spot information because the
Disinformation.
ability to
Misinformation.
misinformation. Yeah, did I say information?
You said information. You can't
Yeah,
spot information.
yeah. Well, I think you can do that. I think you can teach them to do that. But yeah, you can't teach them maybe to spot misinformation because they lack the knowledge needed to judge whether claims match reality. And she talks about the fact that there are lots of different checklists out there that kind of fail because they treat evaluation as if it's a transferable skill rather than something that's grounded in the knowledge of a domain. I was going to say domained there. May have made up a neologism. If I had, I should have said that with more authority and then
Carried on.
challenged the viewers to spot misinformation.
Yes.
Anyway, she cites a very famous example that's been used in a few studies, the Pacific Northwest tree octopus. Do you know about the Pacific Northwest?
No, do tell. Sounds wonderful.
So, well, it's a creature that lives in trees.
It's got
in
8
the
legs.
Pacific Northwest. It's got 8 tentacles,
Oh.
and it's clearly nonsense. It doesn't exist.
Oh.
But articles and websites have been dedicated to it, and when children have been shown this, they've been. I don't have the details of the studies to hand, but they've struggled to identify that it's a hoax.
Right.
And that even when told,
not in our top 75 schools, though, I'm sure. Our top 75 schools would have no truck with that sort of nonsense.
No doubt. But even when children are told that was a hoax, they still continue to believe in the Pacific Northwest tree octopus.
Why?
They don't believe it's a hoax.
Why do they carry on believing it?
Because they don't believe it's a hoax.
Who taught them that in the first place?
So they've been shown the articles, they've been shown the websites
from
to evaluate.
Very authoritative ones.
Yeah, well, we'll come back to that, Martin, about whether they're authoritative or not, because not everyone agrees with Daisy, as you might be unsurprised to hear. So your ability, so as no doubt an educated, intelligent chap, you might have some reasons to be skeptical that octopi might live in the Pacific Northwest in trees.
Yes. Especially the ones that live underwater.
Yeah. So,
but we began underwater, didn't we? Apparently, mankind.
Yeah. Why can't they drag themselves?
Yeah, it could be sort of on the way, couldn't they, to becoming 8-legged humans at some point or something like that?
Yeah.
With no toenails.
Something like that.
Yeah.
They don't have toenails, do they?
No,
they have beaks.
But if they can become human, they would have...
Is it squid that have beaks, or do both octopus and squid have beaks?
Beaks.
Beaks, yeah.
Duck-billed platypi, they have beaks.
No, yeah, okay. Honestly, stop it. They're obviously made up, duck-billed platypus, aren't they?
Nonsense.
Yeah, complete hoax. So discerning the truth.
If David Attenborough told me the Pacific Northwest tree octopus was a thing, hello, and here we are in the Pacific Northwest, and the tree octopi are up there in front of us at this very moment, I'd believe him.
Well, there you are. You would, and I remember a brilliant April Fool's Day thing from years and years ago when I was a kid. I can't remember which newspaper it was in, but it had photographs of spaghetti trees.
Yes,
and people
Nationwide.
Harvesting spaghetti. Was it from Nationwide?
Yes, there's a program.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Well, I thought it was a newspaper thing. I have a very distinct memory of it, and
or it might have been Panorama. Actually, it might have been Panorama, which talking about misinformation.
I don't think it matters, Martin.
The Donald Trump spaghetti trees.
Yeah. Well, I mean, spotting misinformation and Donald Trump, how do those two things line up?
Well, he's very concerned about it when it's the BBC, but not when it's himself.
Yeah. Other people shouldn't do it. It's completely his own preserve. Yeah, so obviously everyone at the BBC has quit in disgrace because they made it look like he'd said something he hadn't actually said.
But look, can we teach kids to be sceptical?
Yeah, can we? So Daisy says not. Daisy says...
You can't teach them to be sceptical.
Oh, you can teach them to be sceptical. You can't teach them to be able to detect falsehoods unless you give them all of the background knowledge that enables them to use the checklists that are available to make sense. But Barbara Blyman, Martin, at the English and Media Centres, she disagrees. She says Some generic skills can be taught and then applied to different texts to develop a confidence in making judgments, e.g., 1. Check on the authority of the text. I looked up the hoax website and discussed and Googled it. In 10 seconds of scrolling, I found something on Wikipedia describing it as a hoax website and giving info about who wrote it and how it has been used. And so Barbara Blyman can spot a hoax. And the fact that she can do that encourages her to believe that children can be taught to do that as well. And, she goes on to talk about the very checklists that Daisy's skeptical about and saying that those are useful tools and we should equip children with them.
Yeah, I think somewhere along the line you can have those tools. I mean, but the other things to remember, though, that even people with huge amounts of knowledge and authority behind them get hoodwinked on occasions. There's the Hitler diaries, famously, or even the
Piltdown Man,
the not injections. What was it? The MMR vaccine that causes autism. It came up.
Yeah.
And people getting
still widely believed, yeah.
Yeah, and people getting caught up with
things like aeroplane vapor trails are all of that sort of. There's so
and then
much.
So then we move into conspiracy theories that people believe solely because lots of people don't believe them, so they must be true because they don't want you to believe such things.
They're increasing. Our access to internet, our ability to look these things up and to be skeptical and to investigate our skepticism seems to have resulted in ever greater numbers of people believing bullshit.
And also finding out that governments have lied to us in the past doesn't help, because if we've been told or not given all the full information of things, and then you look at certain things that whether it be, I was going to call him Prince Harry, but no, not Prince Harry, Prince Andrew. He's no longer Prince Andrew.
Andrew Mountbatten, I think they have to call him.
Something like that. That and you look at, you just say, well, that's the whole truth isn't come out about his involvement in that scandal that shall not have any thing to worry us, should it really? But I don't know. You can see why people believe certain things, that we're not being told the whole truth. But if someone then puts the whole truth out somewhere and says this is the whole truth, you can see why people are brought in. But we should be taught how to be skeptical and how to not trust anything. But then if you don't trust anything, you don't know what to believe, and then you're left bereft.
If teachers are going to teach skepticism, are teachers especially skeptical? Look at all of the nonsense that schools regularly fall for in terms of the next big thing that we all need to be working on, and even things which have strong evidence bases are done routinely in very, very silly ways by people who should really know better. I remember Nick Rose, who I co-wrote a book with years ago. What Every Teacher Should Know About.
Yeah, very good book.
Psychology.
And very good to mention Nick as well.
All the good bits were written by Nick. If anyone's wondering, And
I wonder where that was going.
he talks about professional skepticism.
Yeah,
and that professionals, that we should. There's a whole section of it in the book on, that we should be professionally skeptical. We should, nobody wants people just going, that sounds like bullshit. But professional skepticism is saying, I'm withholding judgment. I'm not embracing the shiny and the new. And we provide a checklist for teachers in there.
There you go.
That they can perhaps do to investigate some of the claims that are made about stuff. Doesn't make any difference.
Well, I also like to fly a trivium flag here. So the idea with the trivium is, of course, that you
great book.
You
Who's
put
that by, Martin?
Well, I'm talking about the whole trivium, so not just my own little part in the history of the trivium, my very small part. But the idea that you actually do question knowledge is essentially part of it. You question it. You put it under some sort of microscope, if you like, to test whether it's true or not. It's part of the way of finding out about truth and arriving closer to the truth is to be skeptical, is to question things in quite a lot
Yeah,
of
and
detail. Now, do schools actually want kids to do that, or do they want to allow kids to just believe what your teacher says, learn it, bung it in the exam, you'll pass it? Do they actually care about whether it's true or not, or whether it just gets you through an exam, all those sorts of things? So
well,
will
yeah,
schools really care about whether we're teaching kids to question authority, question knowledge?
yeah,
These things are quite difficult in a school scenario sometimes to actually give time
yeah.
to, I'd have thought.
Well, it depends, doesn't it? I mean, these are things which what schools prioritise and what teachers do ultimately depends on how we design assessments. And if we were to design assessments in GCSE subjects and A-level subjects which asked and required students to question claims, then maybe we'd be a bit more invested in teaching it. Anyway, thinking about being sceptical and investigating claims being made. What do we think about the DfE's decision?
Great segue. Love it. You
Thank
did
you.
you did there.
Good. Yeah.
Neuroscience. What's
To spend millions on a neuroscience research centre. Yeah. What do you think about that?
I? It seems very limited for that much money. Why not just explore lots of things to do with education, or could possibly help with education, rather than how the brain develops? But obviously there's some reason why they think neuroscience, I mean, it's not even, I mean, what did we talk about cognitive psychology the other week? It's not even cognitive psychology. It's not looking at the science of learning. It's looking at neuroscience itself, how the
Yeah.
brain develops, which would have thought isn't just a school issue. It's also, I would have thought, beyond schools. But why do they think that neuroscience might have so many answers for just schools? Because if it's the DfE funding it, it's very limited to schools, isn't it? Schools and colleges, universities, etc. So what's the
Yeah.
idea of it?
Well, the idea, I think, is that it churns out research that we then turn into policy.
Yeah, but why is it so? I mean, why is it nothing to do with the NHS, for example?
Why is
why
it
is
being
it
funded
just
by government?
schools?
I
Well,
don't
it
know.
could be. I mean, yeah, but just it's DfE. It's the Department for Education.
Yeah.
Wants a
Why are they?
research centre. Why is it just DfE? What's the, there are other uses. I mean,
Right. I mean,
we don't
okay.
know. We don't know.
We don't know. We don't know. I mean, we can look at the school. We've got a Schools Week article where
Okay, go
we
on.
found this stuff out. I can see you. I can see
I've
you
done a
read
lot
it.
of research on this.
Yeah. So it's it would launch alongside another research centre which is focused on the economics of education research. Oh, there you are. That's
Yeah.
good. Good to know. And it would be according to Joe Hutchinson, a very positive step towards better evidence-based policy. Maybe, maybe not. We can talk about that in a moment. Yeah, it doesn't really say. Doesn't really say why. Just that lots of people think it's a good idea, and
They're the ones who are going to be getting money out of it, I bet.
yeah, the people are getting money out of it. The people
They
who've
think it's a great
invested
idea.
some of their credibility in it, they all think it's really good. Um, if we if we're going to be, I mean,
Should we be skeptical?
well, I think we should be skeptical. Yes, I do, Martin. I'm a big neuroscience skeptic, and it's not that I think neuroscience in itself is wrong or telling us stuff that is not true. I just don't necessarily think it's very useful. And when you
Perhaps
put it
that's because we haven't had a research centre that has made it useful.
maybe, and maybe that's not in a perfect world, maybe that's how things would go. I wrote an essay on this recently called "The Promise and Danger of Neuroscience," which looks at this skeptically. One of my favourite people working in developmental neuropsychology, Professor Dorothy Bishop, says that neuroscience can tell you which brain regions are the most involved in particular cognitive activities and how this changes with age or training. But these indicators of learning do not tell you how to achieve learning. Suppose I find out that the left angular gyrus becomes more active as children learn to read. What's a teacher supposed to do with that information? And I think that's the point, that knowing that an area of the brain lights up when something happens doesn't give you any information at all, perhaps, about how to be a more effective teacher. Maybe there'll be a future in which children all have electrodes stuck to them and teachers are issued with handheld fMRI scanners, and we'll be able to go, oh, look, I did this and that bit lit up in Martin's head. Clearly, that's the right thing to do. But until we get there,
there's nothing lighting up in my head, I can tell you. But
you take the point. Yeah, I think what neuroscience does really well is it confirms or refutes psychological theories.
Yeah, there's also, though, isn't there some hope that this will help with SEND somewhere along the line, that perhaps if neuroscience might open some way into the understanding of the autistic brain, the ADHD and other.
Maybe. I mean, I think that one example of where neuroscience has been useful is looking at dyslexia. So for decades, people were in dispute about whether what we call dyslexia arises from a disorder of the visual perceptual system, or it's about phonological problems,
or laziness.
Okay, but
no.
But that was for people who didn't believe in dyslexia. So the people looking at dyslexia were like, there was one camp saying it's about visual perception systems, and the other camp saying it's about phonological problems. So
all right, but
what
can I just
able to establish?
Yeah, I just want to go with my point there about dyslexia and being skeptical about whether it's a thing. A lot of people are skeptical about ADHD, whether it's a thing or not, or the extent of the ASD spectrum, the extent of numbers of people being brought under the umbrella of autism. Now,
yes,
if there is something that is measurable in some way in the brain that can say this is autism, this is what an autistic brain looks like, or an ADHD brain, or whatever it is, it does open up things for people's skepticism to perhaps be blown away a bit.
Yeah. So as I was,
as you were saying,
as I was saying, that debate has been settled to the satisfaction of all but the most unhinged by neuroscience. So brain imaging techniques have been able to find that there's reduced activation in the left. Let me get this right: temporoparietal cortex, which is a strong indicator that dyslexia is better explained by phonological causes. And so that's really valuable. That then enables us to say spending time on embedding phoneme and grapheme relationships is much more likely to be profitable than mucking about with coloured filters. But the scandal of the Merseylen syndrome and the extent to which schools do muck about with coloured filters is, I think, a dreadful, dreadful abrogation of responsibility. I don't so much mind schools issuing kids with coloured filters or sending them to opticians to get coloured lenses for the glasses. I think that's kind of fine if that makes people feel better. I'm not against it, but the number of schools which insist on teachers photocopying resources on different coloured paper for
Yeah.
long lists of students is absolutely wacko. There's
So
absolutely no reason to do that. The workload it creates is enormous. And anyone who works in a school which is asking teachers to do that needs to have a bloody good look at themselves. You're the problem if you're doing that. There you go.
and
I'll
that
stop on that.
brings us back to, our schools the best ones to teach misinformation about misinformation if they the
Yeah,
ones?
honestly, there's so much misinformation in Scotland, but I think that's a really strong, prevalent area where there are well-meaning, well-intentioned people who are making teachers' lives harder by asking them to do something which is bullshit.
And for our final point, shall we go on to Shakespeare?
Yeah.
We have a graphic for those of you watching us on YouTube. And for those of you who aren't watching us, this is a tweet from Daniel Buck, who's apparently the youngest old man in Ed Reform, as he calls himself. And he's tweeted, "I got to be honest, I think a lot of English teachers dislike Shakespeare because they themselves barely understand it." And at the time of copying that out, it had 313 likes. So there's quite a few people who perhaps agree with that.
Yeah. Yeah. It's probably true, isn't it?
Do you think English teachers don't understand it and therefore don't like it? You're
I
an English
think
teacher.
Yeah, I know. So I think there's two things to say about that. I think if you're an English teacher that doesn't like Shakespeare, then it would be interesting to talk to you about why you dislike Shakespeare, and to probe whether or not you barely understand it. But I think most English teachers would say that they do like Shakespeare. He's an American. Daniel Buck's an American. He's a bit of a right of centre sort of ed policy guy, and he's being obviously provocative there. And maybe it's reasonable to say that in the US there's a significant number of English teachers who don't like Shakespeare, want to get rid of Shakespeare from the canon. I think it's so ingrained in English education in England that and yet again, as we said last week, Shakespeare's the only named author to make it into the recommendations. That there's such it's such an important part of the English curriculum that you can't have English teachers that barely understand Shakespeare. They wouldn't last very long. They have to understand it.
We're also talking the same week that the Royal Shakespeare Company have produced material for Shakespeare teaching in English schools. So I don't know whether it's any good or not. I haven't looked at it, but it's.
Yeah.
I expect there's a bit of a controversy about that as well. So
Oh, I know.
either we,
The RSC, I think, do great educational stuff. By the way, I'm a big fan of their Shakespeare program. I think it's
have you
good.
seen this new stuff they brought out?
I haven't seen the new stuff they brought out.
Okay,
No,
Helen Mirren loves it.
Well, that's all I need to know.
There you go. It's you.
Yeah.
Don't need to be
Yeah,
skeptical
absolutely.
about that. I
Hey,
haven't seen any of it, so I
no.
can't speak.
But no one's decided to run it past me.
I think they'll
But
probably want to
I
get it
think,
off the page, knowing the RSC. They want to go off the page as quickly as possible, push back the desks, get children on their feet. Drama.
I think it's important, and I think that the teaching of Shakespeare primarily in English classrooms is a little bit sad. Is the fact that we teach Shakespeare as literary analysis rather than as appreciating the dramatic
Mm.
construction of the plays is maybe does contribute to teachers having a limited understanding of what the plays are meant to be doing and how they're meant to be appreciated
I'll
and
tell you one thing that's
construed.
quite interesting that I went to
How did
RS.
you teach Shakespeare?
Well, I'm going to say
Yeah.
I went to a course at Stratford,
Where else?
Stratford in Warwickshire. Yes, the birthplace, and at the RSC there, and they did something on speaking Shakespeare, and one of the things, and this is from a drama perspective, so
Mm.
we're I don't know whether this is how you English teachers would approach it. You probably want to go for meaning, whereas
That sort of
the drama
nonsense.
lot will go for feeling first, probably, and then sort of work their way into meaning. Perhaps depending on which way you're going with it. But if you get give me a Shakespeare line. Give me a line of Shakespeare.
Uh,
This is put you
oh,
under pressure, isn't it?
yeah, I know. Cry havoc and let slip the dogs of war.
Cry havoc and let slip the dogs of war. Right. So what you do is put two different
I hope
emotions.
you appreciate this,
Yes.
listeners.
So
It's a
cry
masterclass.
havoc and let loose the dogs of war. So you have two different emotions on each line.
You've deliberately changed the words there, or
Oh, did I? So what was it? Cry havoc
slip?
and
Let slip.
let slip. Even better, of course. I mean, Shakespeare knew what he was doing. Cry
He
havoc
was,
and let slip the dogs of war. That's better. Yeah.
yeah.
But that so you have two emotions. So every line of Shakespeare, you
Two
action it.
emotions. Two
Well, we
emotions per
act. It's
line.
called actioning. It's called actioning, but that's another
Two.
thing altogether.
Two, ladies and gentlemen.
But so to be or not to be.
Or not.
So but you can have two or three depending on where the pauses are, etc., etc. But generally, just go for two for every line.
Is this a dagger I see before me?
Yes, you don't have to do it as cry havoc each time. It doesn't have to be exactly the same, too. But it should.
Why not? Yeah.
Romeo, Romeo. Wherefore art
What's
thou?
aren't they? Yeah. I
Romeo,
get it.
You get
Yeah,
it. You get it.
wonderful.
So it's quite. So you can actually. So you can.
What's your favourite line of Shakespeare?
My favourite. Oh, tomorrow and tomorrow and tomorrow and tomorrow. That line about nothing and all that sort of stuff going on there. I
My
forgot.
life has fallen into the sea, the yellow leaf.
Oh.
No, isn't that from the same bit
No, I
of
can't
Macbeth?
remember. I just you have to bring it up. I can't do the whole
Out,
speech.
out, brief candle.
The trouble is, and this is
Yeah.
rather embarrassing, of course, is that was probably because it was taught to me at school all those years ago that it stuck with me. Because we did Macbeth even back in those days before
I never did Macbeth
before
at
the
school.
war. What did you do at school?
I did. I remember doing Romeo and Juliet.
Okay, which one were you?
I tried to be as much. I was really keen on being Mercutio. I
Okay,
loved
all right.
Mercutio. Yeah, I was a huge Mercutio fan. And I remember I had a different edition of the play to everyone else in the class for some reason.
Right.
They handed out the books, and I got, I don't know, different edition, and everyone else had a school's edition, and I didn't. And one of the lines that Mercutio delivers includes the phrase "open arse," and I read with
Right.
huge delight, obviously, this phrase. And the teacher was really cross and then went, "Oh no, it does say that." Oh.
You've got to be up to date with your Shakespeare, I tell you. So that's the school's edition would have been censored.
Yes.
Censored,
Yeah.
no less.
We
Yeah,
should
so
teach children to be sceptical about the Shakespeare they're reading.
there you go.
Because
So,
there's filthier Shakespeare out there, boys and
so
girls.
my favourite bit of that line is it's a tale told by an idiot.
Full of sound and fury, signifying
nothing. That's it. That's the bit I like. Yeah.
Do you know, one of my favourites, one of the simplest, is that line from the end of Lear where he realises Cordelia's dead, and it's just
Oh yeah,
oh.
yeah.
Oh.
And you imagine
I think,
that just said by a kid in a classroom. Oh.
yeah, exactly. And that, of course, you imagine it said by Olivia,
Olivia.
Olivia, my daughter. Yeah, she did
Sorry.
a good job.
Is she
No,
named after
Olivia.
Laurence Olivier?
Yes.
Brilliant. Yes. So, Midsummer Night's Dream as well. My favourite bit is Puck's speech at the end. Lend me your hands and give me your hands, or whatever it is. That bit there. I quite like the coming out of characters, and the whole of Prospero. Prospero does that a lot in The Tempest. The way it's this great globe. Does he talk about that? The great globe.
When he breaks his staff and drowns his books?
Yeah, that sort of thing. Gets a bit
I
upset.
love that line. Full fathoms 5, thy fathers lie. Oh, that's
You like a bit of
great.
F.
That's a good. It's a lot of great bit of alliteration. That, isn't it?
Alliteration all the way, yeah.
It sounds good, doesn't it? Though, full fathoms 5.
Well, especially if you do it with two different emotions as well.
Yeah, do it. Can you do it with two
I
different
haven't
emotions?
got. You have to put the line in front of me because I
So,
don't know.
listeners, what we'd like you to do for next week is send in your favourite line of Shakespeare for Martin to butcher, and he will happily do that with enough warning.
I do give it my best shot. Out, out, brief candle. Life's but a walking shadow. Yes,
Oh, that's very Olivier. I like it.
yes. A poor player that struts and
Frets,
something upon the
frets,
stage frets
upon
his
the
hour upon the stage. Yes, and then is heard no more. And that's a good place to end, I think.
It is bit bleak, but nevertheless,
We're signifying
we
nothing.
well, no,
We
and
should
we've
call the
wasted.
podcast signifying nothing, perhaps. We could.
Yeah, let's do what this episode.
This episode.
Yeah, call it that. Call it that. Anyway, as you know, this podcast is actually called "It's Your Time You Were Wasting." You've been warned. You were warned. You knew that would happen. We have wasted your time and ours, frankly. Thank you for sticking with us. And whatever happens, we'll be back next week. Even though we probably don't have anything to say,
Oh, we'll look for something. We'll look for
we'll
something.
look for something. But yeah, appreciate your sticking with us. It's like an act of charity, isn't it, for two sad old geezers?
Yes. And on that note,
Anyway, goodbye, Martin.
goodbye, David.